I was in a Morgan Stanley investment conference in San Francisco, and of course every investor quizzed me about ChatGPT and Gen AI. On the way back, the Uber driver quizzed me for half an hour about ChatGPT, and I realized the AI has arrived. And but there is limitation to what some of these models can do. So what are those models doing? I mean, we have trained them on really vast amount of publicly available data and sometimes proprietary data. And once you run out of those data sources, there is a limit to extent those models are going to be better and better over time, right? Of course, there are probably going to be better and better models, but I don't think it can be, incrementally getting better for an infinite amount of time. That's not going to happen. Now, we are already pretty much fed all of this model, all the written text data that humankind has produced over the last, hundreds of years. So there is not too much of text data left that you can feed these models to. What is left, by the way, is a lot of audio and video data. And that data is much easier to collect. And there are a lot of things which you don't write down. For example, when you lift a cup from a table, right? Nobody writes it down. But there are a lot of videos which shows how we go and grab the cup and pick it up from the table. So those are the kind of data sources which are now going to kind of make these models more and more intelligent. But I do think there is a limit to which you can feed them information and make them better. I see two gaps that we are really focused on. One I call the value gap, similar to what I was talking about, right? I mean, people are spending a lot of money training models, but ultimately those models have to solve some business problems, have to make things more productive or predict things more accurately or whatever it is. Business value has to justify the investment that's going in there. And it's not easy with AI to create that business value. And one of the things DataRobot does very well is kind of connect those business problems with AI and solves them with AI, right? So that is the first problem that we are focused on. The second thing which I'm also seeing, that with any new technology, you need to build trust. And AI is kind of in that phase, and there is a confidence gap. There are a lot of people who are creating, especially with Gen AI, a lot of prototypes, right? I mean, it's not difficult to put together a chatbot which answers some questions. It's hard to guarantee that they are going to answer the question correctly. It's not going to create, any misleading answers or create harm in, more serious cases. And there are a whole lot of things we need to do in terms of managing the risk and creating a framework where you can define and associate risk with various different type of use cases and handle them with the right level of mitigation, compliance, testing and validation, etc. So those are the two things which are very important for wide-scale adoption of AI. So for example, the value gap, right? So the most interesting and most challenging things about value gap, that you need people who understand the business and the business challenges that they are trying to solve, and people who understand AI and how those two things can be put together in order to solve a business problem, right? So what we do, for example, is that we do ideation workshops with our customers. We sit down with customers and their SMEs who understand the business and work with them to figure out what are your business challenges, what are the use cases that you have, and then our team kind of works with them to figure out, in order to address those use cases, do you have all the ingredients? For example, do you have the right data set, right? And do you know what business processes needs to be updated if we insert AI into that? So those are the things we do first, and then people can use our platform either themselves or we can help them as co-pilots. That's what we call them. And we sometimes have our other partners, the service provider partners, who work with them to solve those business problems, actually build those models, build those applications, and then put them in production. So that is, and pretty much every industry you go to, there are enough problems that AI can help solve. And pretty much every business line you go to, there are enough problems that AI can help solve. But bringing AI to business, that's still kind of not easy for everybody because you need to speak both AI and the business language, and it's very difficult to find people who speak both. So you have to have two in a box and solve those problems.